But you're more than welcome to call me the Invisible. It's totally okay with me. You could call me Mrs. Watermelon Viking if you like. Just don't call me late for dinner. But I laughed. No, she's a total jerkwad, like in person. No, she's like so mean. Oh, she's just the rudest. Should I actually draw these leaves like how they look? Because they just look like a nightmare. Look at these watermelon leaves. These look terrible to draw. I don't think that I'm interested in it. Might just tell those leaves to go fuck themselves. You're the one who did the one for the 200k followers. Mmm. You know what? She did, but she might have left out the part where she also stole its blanket and its food. Like, oh, she was just total, like, she was, something really upset her that day. Like, I don't even know what got into Sab, but it was like, just like weird. Okay, that looks like kind of a watermelon leaf. Actually, I'll save all the detail stuff for after. I'll just do the outlines and stuff. What do you mean based on the imaginary? Like, as in like a thing that is just pooping out of my head? Or... Oh, yeah. Oh, I see that. Okay, well, I am using a reference though. It's watermelon and the plants. Super, super important. Everything else is totally, like... Couldn't really find a reference. Actually, I used Timo's body for Mr. Viking here, and I pooped this castle out on my own, and then this is gonna turn into like a My Little Pony thing later. Just this little unicorn right there. And then the rainbow, I don't need a reference for those, because I'm visible. And so I'm just like talking to him and just trying to like ask him how his day is and be like pleasant and nice and stuff. And he's talking in the third person, like, you know, it's so funny because she doesn't know that I'm invisible right now. She's just talking to nobody. And they are not trolls. They are watermelons. And it is not a pineapple-shaped ukulele, but it will be a watermelon-shaped ukulele eventually. But anyway, yes. So this guy, he like kind of like leaves, and I think nothing of it because I'm used to people like that constantly coming at our tables and stuff, and just kind of being a little bit awkward. That's like totally part of the job, so there's nothing weird about it. I'm never like rude when I tell people to pass, like to continue on, by the way. I'm always like, oh, I don't want to, you know, take up the rest of your time, and I know that there's only so many hours in the day at the convention here, so I'll see you around, and make sure to follow me online if you want to, you know, talk more or whatever. So this guy just like went, like he just disappeared. And I didn't think anything of it until Sunday as the con was closing, and I have to describe what he looks like. So he's got like one of those plain old dowels from like Home Depot or Home Hardware or whatever. It's just plain. There's no decorations or anything on it. And he's got like a blanket tied around his neck as like a cape. And I think he had a mask on? I'm not sure. But anyway, he just like he was like a homemade cosplayer. I don't quite know what he was. Oh, they are trolls. No, I think the majority of them are just socially inept. But anyway, he looked like he maybe was missing a puzzle piece. And so at the end of the day, I saw him come around again, but I heard him more than saw him because he was whistling really loudly. And it was already the end of the show. Like, everyone was already like ripping their like displays up and stuff. Like, if you've ever had the pleasure of hanging around a Comic-Con after Sunday like ends, everyone they're just ripping their shit down. Like, nobody cares about safety or anything. They're just like, let's go home, please. Because there's some people that need to like fly out and stuff, me myself being one of those people. But then there's like there's some people who you know, they just want to go home and they want to just enjoy their Sunday. So this guy comes around the corner and he's humming or whistling as loud as he can, and he still thinks that he's invisible, I gather, because he's just like, he's looking at people ripping down their stuff. He's like peering over their tables. He's just like being just, you know, like the only kind of obnoxious that you could be if you thought that nobody else could see you, right? So he's walking around and he actually like, he looks at someone's table and sees that there's cookies on a chair behind their table, reaches over, grabs a cookie, and like leaves, but this whole time he's whistling really loudly, so half the people in my aisle are just like, they've stopped what they're doing and they're just watching him. Myself included. I'm like, I don't care if I miss my flight. This is golden. Like, I know this something's gonna happen here. It's gonna be funny. And the people who like own the table are like, hey dude, like what the hell? Like those are our cookies. Like seriously, what? So he like slowly like backtracks, like he doesn't turn around, he just kind of like choo-choos backwards really slowly, digs a quarter out of his pocket and puts it in the cookie like box, like it was one of those like he just bought it at a grocery store or whatever. So he just like slips his quarter where he took the cookie from and then just like continues to walk. And obviously like they come around the table and they like physically stop him, and the security is called and he's like walked out of the building and stuff. But it was just like completely ridiculous, and I'm so glad that I got to witness that like just Mr. Invisible Man just takes snacks whenever he feels so. It was so funny. And my mom was there too, and she was like, does this happen a lot? Because she's never done a con before, and I brought her to Montreal because she's from there, and that was kind of like her vacation, more or less. So I had to explain to her, like, this is just one of those things, man. It was really funny. I have so many more of those types of stories. Especially, like, the funnier shit tends to happen at, like, anime shows. where people are more interested. Like it's a younger crowd. There's way more like kids there that aren't old enough yet to have a credit card or whatever, and it's actually really it's a good show because everyone is so friendly, but there's also a lot of people that don't really get like social cues or personal boundaries and stuff like that. So you get a lot of screamers, you get a lot of like people, coming in for hugs, and you're like, okay, no, I'm already sweaty because I've been standing and talking all day. Like, please, I'm so sorry. You're going to one in 2 weeks. Also me, and it's gonna be great. It's it's one of my favorites actually. I think you're going to AX, right? That one's where is that one? Because mine's just in Calgary. It's like really local to me. It's like a 3-hour drive in Calgary, Alberta. Because I'm Canadian, y'all. Oh, LA. Okay, yeah, no, it's that big one, isn't it? Yeah, Sabrina and I have been meaning to do some American cons, but like we did Emerald City and